Hey, what's up, guys? This is Chad Nash, aka the Real Estate Doctor, here in Denver, Colorado. And today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is real estate investing and how you can take steps to make your first real estate investment purchase. And I'm going to share some tips, some tricks, some knowledge. I remember when I was a first-time real estate investor, I didn't have a map. I didn't have a game plan. I didn't have any mentors. So I'm going to tell you everything that I learned along the way so you don't make those mistakes and hopefully set you up with a good foundation to make your first investment property purchase here soon. All right, guys, I'm super excited. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, first off, let's talk about some important considerations that you must have to make your first real estate investment purchase. Number one, do a financial checkup. Assess your credit, look at your savings, look at all the capital you have access to, take a look at the debt that you have, make sure that you're financially sound, and then make sure you also have a slush fund set aside because guess what? That house, look, it's not gonna do maintenance on its own. There's also going to be some circumstances where things pop up that you're going to have to fix. You got to make sure that you are financially prepared to buy your first investment property. Number two, do a self-assessment. Now, you need to understand, yes, real estate can be liquid at times, but most times it's illiquid. Or in other words, it means that you can't get money quickly out of your real estate investment. You need to make sure that you understand the different ebbs and flows of markets, and you understand that real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You got to make sure you have the tolerance yourself and that you're in it for the long run to make your investment pay off. Number three, analyze your own investment time frame. I remember two quotes told to me: you can either go slow and steady or be quick and ready. Now, either of those approaches are going to impact the type of property that you pursue. Do you want a quicker payoff from your investment, or are you in it for the long term and the long haul? You need to analyze this, know which one, know which approach you're going to take. Okay, now let's think about some goal setting. You have what we call short-term goals or long-term goals. Let's look at some short-term versus long-term ways of making money through real estate investing. Number one, from a short-term perspective, we have what we call fix and flips. That's where you try to find a property for a bargain price or for a nominal price, and then you do some renovations. This can be anywhere from a facelift or what we call like a lipstick on a pig flip, where you're just doing something cosmetic, all the way to a full renovation of the property where you might be gutting it and you're pulling permits. But the whole goal is to flip that property, put some improvements into it, and sell it for a higher price than what you purchased. That's what we call a fix and flip. Vacation rentals, also what we call short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, executive rentals, corporate rentals. Think about Airbnbs. Now, the returns on short-term, mid-term rentals, anything in this space that we call vacation rentals, is huge. But just understand, because there is so much turnover, that the management is also a lot more hands-on than if you have a long-term tenant. House hacking. Now, this has become way more popular over the last few years, especially with the younger buying population. This is where you buy a property, you live in the property as well, and you may rent out a portion of the property to somebody else. But the whole goal here is to hopefully have the rent that you accumulate from that tenant to help pay all of your mortgage or offset some of that cost so that you're not stuck with the full mortgage. I think it's an excellent strategy, especially if you have large houses or you're in duplex situations that allow you to do so. Okay, now let's talk about some long-term strategies. First strategy would be buy and hold. This is where you're simply looking for steady income over a longer period. So this can be a steady flow of income from rents. This can also be from appreciation year to year. You're also thinking about tax deductions when you think of buy and hold. One popular method that has become cool and very in fashion, in vogue over the past few years is the BRRRR method. This is where you buy the property, you fix up the property, you rent out the property, you refinance the property, and then you release the property. I think that's a really cool method once you get active in real estate investing, but you can think about it on your first purchase as well. Number 2, equity building. Every time you make a payment on your investment property, your principal is going to go down and it builds up your equity. Now you're going to be in a position to, in 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 3 years, whatever it may be, refinance if it makes sense to take some of that equity out. And now you can take that equity and do what you so choose. You may travel, you may say, I'm going to put that into another investment property. Whatever it may be, it's equity that you've earned because you started paying that principal down. And number 3, retirement planning. Now, we all want to make sure that we're taken care of when it comes to retirement. And I see a lot of folks plan for retirement through real estate investing. This is where you own multiple properties, so you have multiple streams of income, and hopefully that income is enough for you to retire on, and you don't have to worry about a 401k. You don't have to worry about a pension. All of your income is either coming from a monthly source of real estate income flow, or it's coming from year-to-year appreciation from multiple properties. Or if you're thinking about long-term wealth building, I would think about single-family residencies or larger multi-family properties to help you get those long-term real estate gains and wealth accumulation. Okay, so let's move on now and talk about some of the different type of investment properties that are out there. Okay, number 1, single-family homes. Now, this is the most traditional type of home out there. The pro is that it's easier to manage and it costs less than multi-family units. The con is if you are renting out a single-family residency, if you are vacant, that means it's 100% vacant. There's no other streams of income to come from that property, so it's going to fall all on you. You also have less cash flow potential than you would see with the multi-family because it's only one stream of income coming through that property. Number 2, multi-family. Now, this is what we call duplex, a triplex, fourplex, fiveplex, whatever it may be. Now, the benefit is you have multiple streams of income. Remember that old saying, you should always have 7 streams of income. Well, imagine if you have multiple doors, that means that even if one unit is vacant at the time, you're still getting income from the rest of the units that are within your multi-family unit overall. The cons, it's always going to be a higher purchase price than just a single family property, and you're also going to have the stress of now managing multiple tenants instead of just one tenant in a single family residence. Also, the financing around multi-family units can be a little bit tricky, so you got to make sure you're working with a good lending partner or a hard money lender, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Number 3, condos or townhomes. Now, what I love about condos or townhomes is that they are very low maintenance and they are a lot cheaper than what you would find with a single family property or a multi-family unit. Also, you're going to find, because of the purchase price and the affordability, you can probably buy a condo or a townhome in a more desirable location than you can with a single family residence or multi-family unit. But the cons behind condos and townhomes, the high HOAs, and I'm going to tell you right now, HOAs are increasing and it doesn't look like it's going to stop, especially when you combine HOAs with metro districts. When you talk about your net profit, you got to remember these are things that you have to take into account in your overall budget as well. And also with condos and townhomes, a lot of HOAs have rental restrictions. So either they're only going to let a certain percentage of the overall complex rent out a property, or if it's a short-term or mid-term rental, they may not let you do it at all. Number 4, commercial properties. Now, I'm only talking to advanced investors when it comes to commercial properties. You may not be ready for this yet, but you will be, so let's talk about it now. Now, when it comes to commercial properties, there's a much higher potential for returns, and you feel secure because the lease terms are much longer than what you would find on a single family property, townhomes, or multi-family units. But when it comes to commercial properties, you got to understand that the financing is tricky. There's a higher risk for not having vacancy, and your properties can sit vacant for much, much longer. Okay, number 5, let's talk about vacation rentals just a little bit more. Now, the pros behind vacation rentals is that you get to set the nightly rate. This gives you the flexibility for greater returns and profit because you get to tell your tenants, this is what I'm charging you per night, versus if you were doing a long-term rental and you were charging by the month or even by the year. But the cons with vacation rentals is that it does require a lot more maintenance and oversight. So if you're going to be looking over the property, you're going to have these tenants calling you every night, every week, complaining about the water heat or whatever it may be. So you have to be ready for that or get a property management. And you also have to be ready for seasonality when it comes to the vacation rental space. So if you're in a tourist destination, remember, it's all about seasonality. When are the tourists going to show up? If you're in a place where it's cold during the winter, your place is probably going to sit vacant and then be full during the summer or around the holidays. Things to take into account. All right, now scoping out a property. There's 4 things to consider when you're scoping out a property. Number 1, location, location, location. You want to make sure that you understand the geographical location of your next investment. So look at job growth, industries, what are the amenities within a community or neighborhood? Is there any future developments that are coming? These are all things that you want to make sure you understand going into your first home purchase. Number 2, property condition. What condition is the property in? You want to make sure you have an inspector because you don't want something sneaking up on you down the road that's going to eat into your profits. Let's say it has a sewer condition, needs a new roof, it needs a new water heater. These things are expensive, so you want to know that up front. Number 3, rental market analysis. Make sure that you are analyzing the data on your first investment property. There are sites like AirDNA. You can also go on Zillow, check out the estimates, the rental estimates, talk to your local realtor, see how much the rental market is in that particular area so that you aren't going in with grand expectations and then you're sorely disappointed because you can't get the rent that you thought that you could get. Okay, number 4. Now I'm going to get a little nerdy on you, but we're going to talk about your cash flow and your potential return on investment calculations. To do this, we're going to take our projected monthly income and then we're going to subtract out our vacancy, our maintenance, our utilities, our HOA, and our insurance. And that's going to give us our net monthly income projections. We're going to take this net monthly income projection. You got to make sure that that meets your minimum cash flow, or what we also call our cap rate. And I'll explain that in future videos. Okay, that's all great and cool, Chad, but how the heck am I going to pay for or finance my first investment property? Well, let's talk about it. Number 1, you can do a traditional mortgage, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get that good old down payment assistance. You're not going to get that 3.5% or 5% or even 10% down. You're going to be looking at putting down more like 20 to 25%, and the underwriting guidelines are going to be much more strict on an investment property. Talk to your lender to learn more about that. However, there's a caveat to that because you can take out an FHA loan if you're looking at doing a multi-family unit. Remember I talked about house hacking, and you could put as little as 3.5% down on a 2 to 4 unit property. You can live in one property, rent out the rest of the properties, and that's going to pay your mortgage. But remember, on that multi-family unit, the purchase price is going to be a lot higher than a traditional single family home or a single tenant property. Portfolio loans. Now we're going to get outside the box a little bit. This is typically offered by banks or credit unions. They're a lot more flexible, they're less stringent, but I'm going to tell you right now, those are going to have much more higher interest rates than your traditional loans or the FHA loans. Hard money loans. Now we're going to really get into the investor world here because a lot of investors play with what they call hard money loans. This is loans that usually come from private investors. That means you can get access to the money quicker. They're great for things like fix and flips. But I'm going to warn you, the interest rates on these are going to be very, very high, but it's a great alternative if you need money quickly and you're only going to have it for a short period of time. Seller financing or creative options. Now I'm going to highly recommend that you avoid this space if you are a novice investor. But for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and mention it now because it may become something that you want to do in the future. Now, what are seller financing and creative financing options? These can be lease to, subject to, lease options, land contracts, whatever it may be called. If a traditional mortgage does not work for you, these are great options for you to explore. The negotiation is taking place directly between you, the investor, and the seller of the home. So that means that these are seller-backed financing options, a lot more tricky, a lot more risky. There's no guarantees with it. But like I said, I don't recommend it to novice investors, but if you're an advanced investor or if it's something that you want to try out, there's options out there. Let me know how that goes. Okay, guys, I just threw a lot at you, so let's make sure we recap the key steps to buying your first investment property. Number one, establish your financial foundation. Number two, clarify your short-term versus long-term goals. Number three, make sure you choose the right property type for the goals that you are enacting. Number four, make sure that you're analyzing the property, location, property condition, and also analyzing the market at hand. Number five, always get an inspection. Even if you are waiving a contingency, make sure you're getting an inspection on that property because you don't want something creeping up on you that's going to cost you in the long run. And number six, secure the best financing that works for your investment situation. Couple of final checks that I'm going to recommend. Number one, always have a good real estate attorney or a trusted advisor that you can turn to because real estate investing is tricky. Number two, obtain landlord insurance. So this is going to be a lot different than your own primary property insurance. You want to make sure you have landlord insurance because things will happen to that rental property. Number three, I'm going to tell you that this is probably the best piece of advice that I could give to any young investor. Get a property management company. I understand we think that we can do everything on our own, but property management companies take a lot of the headache and stress away. Yes, they are costly, but I can guarantee you they're worth it. Okay, guys, so listen. Buying an investment property, one of the best decisions you'll ever make, but you got to do it correctly. If you found this content to be useful, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you can get more content like this. Share this video with somebody who might find this a benefit. And I've also linked my guide to short-term rentals below in the comment selection. Please comment, would love to engage. Reach out if you have any questions. I will talk to you guys soon. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can be one of the first to know when content drops on a weekly basis. Also, if you find yourself in the real estate market, check out my comment section below where I provide my home buyer and home seller guides for free. Go ahead and download them. Hope they're of use. Hope to talk to you guys soon.